Am I the a-hole for yelling at my wife for firing our babysitter and making her cry because she called an ambulance? So basically here's what happened. Me and my wife hired our babysitter, who we've been going to for years. We have 2 sons and a daughter, and we've been hiring her since my oldest son was a baby, though it was mostly her mom looking after the baby while she was helping, so we gave her a couple of dollars for that. She's now 16 and can look after the kids all on her own, and my oldest to love her. My youngest is only 7 months, so I'm not sure he really gets it yet, but he seems relatively happy when he's with her. This Friday my kids' daycare has been closed for renovations, and Daisy, our babysitter, has kindly offered to take care of them after school from 3:30 to 6 p.m. I get home from work at 6 and my wife gets home at 5:30. However, I got home early from work at 5:30. When I got home, I found my wife yelling at Daisy while Daisy was just sobbing and apologizing. I asked my wife what was going on, and all she did was just start yelling that Daisy had cost us a bunch of money. My first thought was that she'd broken something, but my wife wasn't telling me what it was. She told Daisy she wouldn't be paying her for her time, and to get the F out of our house and never come back, or she'd call the police. Daisy then ran out crying, and I left my wife to calm down. While I comforted my kids, they were all crying in a different room, while my wife yelled at Daisy. When everything had calmed down, I got the full story from my wife. So here's what happened. My mother had been looking after the kids until 3:30 while we were at work. This was Daisy's first time looking after my youngest son, though we knew we could trust her with the babies since she looked after my daughter alone when she was a baby. Something important that you should know is that my youngest son has breath-holding episodes, which occur when he gets frustrated or is in pain, and he will just hold his breath. To stop them, you just have to blow on the baby or they will just snap out of it on their own. They're completely normal and relatively safe in babies. However, episodes can sometimes cause passing out and blueness, and it's normal, and he usually wakes up within a few seconds. To cut a long story short, my mom forgot to tell Daisy what to do if that happens, and when my son passed out, Daisy panicked and called 911, and then my wife. My wife is now angry that Daisy called 911 for nothing, and has now wasted our money on an ambulance ride. My wife and I are now arguing because I think Daisy did the right thing but my wife doesn't. Yesterday we got into a heated argument. We both said some hurtful stuff, and she is now staying with her mother for a few days while she thinks over my priorities in the relationship. So, am I the a-hole?
Here are the top comments, plus Opie's reply.
Not the a-hole. Your wife is truly, truly awful, and I hope you're having her read these responses.
OP replied,
That may be a good idea once she calms down a bit.
Not the a-hole. My little brother is a paramedic. They just lost a child because the parents waited too long to call 911 because the child did exactly what your child does. Turns out the child was actually choking. That child is now dead. Easily would have survived had they called 911, as they were nearby both the scene and hospital.
OP replied,
Oh dear God, that is awful. I am very relieved that Daisy called 911 as quick as she did. That would be an awful situation to be in.